How's it going, guys? So, one thing I want to talk about today is all the prophesying and the predictions and the videos going around right now talking about the end times. So, the first part I want to talk about is basically are the end times things currently going on? Is that a clear sign? Has that been biblically prophesied? Are these things accurate? First, Revelation and Daniel and several other parts of the Bible are some of the main, passages that are, considered when talking about the end times. Some people are really focused on the Armageddon side, the final battle that's talked about multiple parts throughout the Bible and then kind of somewhat explained or prophesied about in Revelation. Other people are more focused on like the signs, for, the end is coming, the stars are falling, there's wars, different things happening with, Sunday laws or like, various religious components, religious persecution, things like that. So do I think that the current happenings in the world are pointing towards, there being some sort of end times prophecy fulfillment? Personally, no, because everything that's happening now has happened pretty much every century since Jesus's time, and to say that they're getting better or worse, I don't think that case can really be made. So I don't think that the different things that are happening are a clear sign that the end times are upon us. Do I think that they match the end times prophecy? That's where, we can get into the weeds on that in a different video, but, basically end times prophecy, especially in Revelation, is a lot of interpretation. It's a lot of allegory. It's a lot of, basically essentially the visions of John. So, the three angels message, the horns, the beast, a lot of that stuff is, interpreted. If that's how we view it, is what each horn means. The different kingdoms, we interpret a lot of that stuff, but it's not like John said, hey, the Rome is going to fall and this is going to happen. The United States is this horn, the Catholic Church is this. There's no clearly spelled out thing. It's, us making an interpretation of that. So we think we have, a good interpretation, but it's really just at the end of the day, it's interpretation. And I know, a lot of you want it to be exact. You want it to be, clear so that you have a clear view of the end times. I'm sorry to break it to you, unless something like that is specifically spelled out in Revelation, I don't think we can make that statement that we have a perfect interpretation or a clear interpretation of the the vision that John had in Revelation. I don't think we can make that statement. If you feel differently, that's fine. But I think you need to go back and really read Revelation and see, is there any specific references in there that we can really say is, an exact match to some sort of thing that has happened today. So that leads me into the greater point, which I think, I hope a lot of you will hear me out on this, even if you disagree. Hopefully, maybe you'll start thinking about it. There's a lot of passion currently about the end times. There's a lot of videos, every couple of years when something, catastrophic happens, or like there's, wars with religious undertones, like with Israel and Iran, Russia and Ukraine, different things going on. People think like, okay, this is the time, of course, Gaza and Israel, but, they've been fighting for years, so, the most recent one that I've been seeing a lot is the Texas floods. I just think that there's a lot of focus and time spent on looking into the end times, and I think there's a danger in that. It's an insidious danger because it's not in and of itself bad, but it can lead down a road where people, and I've seen this happen a lot. I think it's happening in society right now. where if you're a part of society and you think that, oh, this, I hear a lot like the tropes of this world's so evil. I can't wait to the second coming. This world is not my home. All those types of statements. All those things are true. And of course, I'm also hoping for the second coming to come soon. But at the same time, like if you're like in a nature situation where you're like, let's say you're stranded, like you got lost on a hike, and you know that help is coming, but you're like about to starve or dehydrate or freeze to death, like you're not just going to do nothing. You're going to continue to like try to improve your situation like in that moment, and you're going to like try to thrive until the help comes. You know what I mean? You're going to build a shelter, you're going to get food, you're going to try to find water. You're not just going to like sit there and just be like, I hope, this place sucks. I'm just going to like, endure this and just like wait for help to come. You're going to like try to thrive until that help comes. Even though you have, complete confidence that it's coming. So I think that's the dangers. A lot of people are, promoting like disassociating from the world, instead of trying to help it and trying to improve the world, our brothers and sisters in Christ, and improve this earth while we wait for Jesus to come. And like I said, I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's, any one person or any, mentality is like, in and of itself bad, but I think it just leads to a lot of that, disassociation from the here and now, and just so much focus on the second coming and, the end times. And I think the other part of that too is like a lot of the predictions and stuff. People start to really focus on those aspects and living their life according to that. So like, whether it's people hoarding like, water and food and stuff to prepare for it, or just, spending a lot of time like hosting meetings or worship services about it, like sermons, focusing a lot about it. So I want you guys to all ask yourself this question. If you're a believer that, Jesus, has provided, all the salvation we need, we're not doing anything by works. Nothing we're doing is, getting us quote unquote into heaven, then, our salvation is assured. So what really is the worry about the end times? Unless you're like a world leader or something, or a leader of like an army, what really is going to change if you have, perfect knowledge of what's going to happen at the end times? If you're just an ordinary person, and let's say that there is a persecution of Christians, or, there's false prophets or these different things. I mean, if you follow the Bible, follow the Holy Spirit, follow Jesus, and, those things are secured. So what do you have to worry about? I don't see the point in the big time focus on. I know a lot of you are going to disagree with me on that. Say, no, we need to be ready. We need to be ready. But I think, again, the problem is spending so much time on that when there's so much more need in the world for us as Christians to be doing. Helping people, serving others, spreading the gospel, building up our church communities, like going out and, helping people that need help, the poor, the disenfranchised, doing those types of things as opposed to focusing on the end times. So I really hope you guys think about that. If you really do believe that, our salvation is settled already once you believe in God, and are on that wagon, what do you need to worry about with the end times? If we get persecuted, the same things happen. Like what are we going to do about that? We just continue to trust in God and believe in Him, and do the best we can. But in the here and now, waiting for Jesus to come again, like why not we focus our efforts on making the world a better place, and trying to have Jesus live through us into our communities, and focus on that, especially like in sermons, in our energies, and just Bible study on that, as opposed to the end times. But again, if you are focused on end times, it doesn't mean you're wasting your time or it's bad or anything like that. It's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that I see a lot of focus on that in churches and in posts and videos, and I just feel like there needs to be a shift in some of that energy towards focusing on helping people in the here and now while we wait for Jesus to come. So hope you think about that. Go reread some parts of Revelation. See if you think that there's some specificity in there, or if you think a lot of it's interpretation. post in the comments. Let me know. I'm happy to discuss with you guys. But thank you for watching. Hope that makes you guys, at least start to think about it and see if maybe there's a different perspective. If not, it's okay to agree to disagree. So thank you guys for watching. Much love.